Now, let's talk about something else where Kamala Harris's deeds don't exactly match her words, and that's what's going on at the American southern border. Now, Kamala Harris, I don't know if you've watched any of her interviews lately, but I don't recommend it, by the way. You lose about 20 IQ points if you do. But Kamala Harris has got religion on the border. All of a sudden, after 3.5 years of being the border czar during the worst period of open borders, Kamala now tells us that she really cares about a secure southern border. And she blames Donald Trump, who has not been the president for the last 3.5 years. That's her boss. She blames Donald Trump for the problems that have come up during Kamala Harris's own time in office. Now think about this. On day one, Kamala Harris undid 94 executive orders of Donald Trump's that destroyed his successful border policies. She ended Remain in Mexico. They suspended deportations. They stopped construction of the Trump border wall. I've been to the border more times than Kamala Harris, and if you go down there, you know what you see? Big, beautiful slabs of rusted border walls sitting on the ground because Kamala Harris has made it impossible for American workers to build an American border wall. And now she wants to lie to us and tell us that she cares about the border. Well, how dumb do you think we are, Kamala Harris? We saw what you did. We don't believe what you say now that you're running for president. Now, I will say, to Kamala Harris's credit, I think that every time she gives an interview, that we gain about 100,000 votes. And the reporters will talk about how, until yesterday, and of course that was a disaster, that Kamala Harris would only do softball interviews. Now, we have any sports fans? We have any baseball fans in the room here? Okay, good. Well, as everybody who's ever played baseball or softball will tell you, the problem with a softball interview is that you still have to be able to hit a softball. And unfortunately, even when Kamala Harris goes and does a softball interview, she says something that blows up the entire narrative of her campaign. Now, I don't know if you all noticed, but about 10 days ago, she did an interview with The View, all right? Now, that is the easiest interview in the world for a Democratic politician, okay? I love Tucker Carlson, but that's like me going to do an interview with Tucker Carlson and call it a tough interview, right? She gives an interview with The View, and they say, what is one thing that you would have done differently than Joe Biden during your time in office? And she said, nothing comes to mind. Nothing comes to mind. After standing up there and lying for years, or I should say months, about how she's going to somehow be different than Joe Biden, she cannot name a single thing that she would have done differently than Joe Biden. And I think that actually her interview revealed an important truth about the Kamala Harris campaign. If you think about their plans, if you think about their slogans, because they don't really actually have any details, maybe we should change the slogan of the Kamala Harris campaign to nothing comes to mind, because I think that would capture the Kamala Harris campaign better than what they're saying right now. So let's try it out. Kamala Harris, how are you going to lower the price of groceries for American citizens? Nothing comes to mind. Kamala Harris, how are you going to secure the border that you opened for 3.5 years? Nothing comes to mind. Think about it. I think we may have just saved the Kamala Harris campaign because at least she'll be honest if she just goes out there and says to every question, nothing comes to mind. That would be honest. That would at least solve that one problem for her. But look, we need a president who actually has ideas and a plan and a vision for how to solve this country's problems. So let's just compare and contrast the record of Kamala Harris and the record of Donald Trump, where she did 94 executive orders to open up the American southern border. Donald Trump shut down that southern border, built the wall, and secured America for American citizens. That's a hell of a record to run on.